So let's start with our Insight Special. And our guest today is Gustas from EvoEstate. Hello, Gustas.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Yes, Gustas is CEO of EvoEstate. Can you give us a short introduction about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Gustas. I'm co-founder and CEO of EvoEstate. I've created the EvoEstate together with my co-founder Odris because we've been investing in real estate crowdfunding for years, and we came to realize that it's almost impossible for investors to diversify their investment portfolios in crowdfunding space because all of the platforms were relatively small and regional. Even the big ones that you consider, they only do deals in a couple of countries. And we identified this as a problem. And first we wanted to solve this for ourselves, and then we wanted to solve this for others. Prior to founding EvoEstate, I've built and exited another tech company, which was operating in artificial intelligence space. And I'm also licensed investment advisor for MiFID II regulation.
Right, nice. Then let's start with we have prepared some questions for you. So Gustas, then let's start, and maybe you can provide us with some of your thoughts about the current crowd investing market here.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think the crowd investing as a whole market, it's getting increasingly large. So we are seeing more and more platforms coming up, and I guess where it's getting interesting, we are seeing some interesting business models, because I guess until 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, what we've seen around Europe, that everyone was just doing these sort of like simple platforms, either it's business financing or fixed interest loans for real estate developments. And now we are seeing more interesting platforms coming up. And when I'm saying more interesting, I'm probably speaking about those that have new business models. So some of those could be the buy-to-let platforms that are coming up. We have these so-called fixed variable interest platforms. It's a very fancy word for a very simple meaning. I would say it's more like sort of like equity or an unprotected debt, where the returns can go both directions. Of course, this is highest risk, but at the same time, highest reward investment. But we are seeing more and more of those coming up. So I think the market is getting interesting. And then we see that the crowdfunding platforms are also venturing into some other interesting industries. So for instance, for instance, renewables. Renewables is a big industry. But today we only have one platform in Europe that actually deals with financing of solar parks. So I believe that now there are more and more these sort of companies coming up, and I guess it will be more interesting because at the end of the day, what crowdfunding was created. So one part, of course, is like making money. Put it this way: like you want to invest, you make the return, and you're happy. But I think a large part about crowdfunding, what Kickstarter did, for example, or like Seeders, they provide you a way to invest in things that you didn't have a chance before. So I guess we will see more of those platforms coming up that provide these sort of new things to invest where you had not had the possibility to invest before. And I think it's getting interesting. I think that, in 1 year, the crowdfunding regulations will be adopted on national scales across Europe. I think then the market will boom in terms of number of platforms. Whether they survive or not, that's another question. And probably this industry is heading into, mergers and acquisitions period in 3 to 5 years. But definitely, there will be more platforms. Some of them will be just repeating the other ones, and other ones will be creating some interesting models. I guess in a certain way, the borrower will win because there will be more supply, but at the same time, I guess there will be more investors coming in, because now I would say that crowdfunding is still yet something rather new. And some countries have adopted it wider, others haven't. So in some countries, it's still sort of like an exotic product. But for some countries, it's becoming like a sort of a new traditional method to invest. And I believe that the more the time will pass, the more people will adopt this perception that, look, it's a great way to invest your capital in small amounts, getting the better accessibility to products where one didn't have a chance to invest before.
Got it. I also see that that's a great opportunity to diversify your portfolio. I absolutely agree to that. And what would you say if you bundle those different investment opportunities in different platforms, like as you're doing with EvoEstate? What would you say is so special then about EvoEstate? Because it's just the bundling of different platforms. As you said, they're booming, or there are many platforms arising in the next 1-2 years. So would you say the quantity is that what your USP is, or would you say we have different filtering opportunities or something like that?
I just want to clarify the question is what makes EvoEstate different besides the bundling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so to answer your questions, I think we have to look into this one thing we have inside the company, which is called the holy triangle of EvoEstate. Mm-hmm. Basically, it combines of 3 things. Mm-hmm. So on one axis, we have a product, simple to use, feature-rich, but not complicated, and always better than the originator. On the second axis, we have customer support, instant, email, and live chat. Why is it so important and why I'm emphasizing this in particular? Because sometimes when you want to ask a question on some platforms, it may take a week to get your answer. And we believe that the communication with the investors is the most important thing. And lastly, which could also look similar to like customer support, but also investor relationship, where we believe that investors should not ask questions about the projects, but the marketplace should provide the information in advance. And I think these are the 3 things, as simple as they look. I really doubt that any other platform on European market can actually operate under all of these 3 elements, because either you have a very good product, but you have really bad customer support, mm-hmm. or you have decent customer support and good product, but you have to have questions about the status of the projects. So I think EvoEstate is beyond the aggregation of those. I believe we really care about our clients. And I think the last one is that we know how to build tech products. The secondary market that we have done, I think we launched 1 month after we launched our operations. Mm-hmm. And, these are small details like secondary market. Most of our partners do not have it, same as for auto invest. And I guess, investment in a sense is about compounding, So all the features and benefits that we offer, they all compound in a really good investment experience.
You got it. And how does it work? So the investors create an account at your on your platform and then invest directly in the project of the one crowdfunding or crowd investing platform?
Basically, how it works is relatively simple. You simply sign up on EvoEstate, you complete the KYC, and then you top up your wallet, and you choose which projects you want to invest. When you select the projects and you make your investments, when you press invest, you enter in the proxy agreement with you and EvoEstate. What it means in practice is that you provide the capacity for EvoEstate to enter into agreement on your behalf with the partner platform. For you to understand how it works even in more easier terms is that consider private banking, personal banking. I guess you have those in Germany, like when you hold like significant amount of capital in the bank, you usually get a private banker, which also suggests you on investment strategies and they execute your investments. So you can consider us sort of like your private banker of crowdfunding investments.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, great. So I also invested in a project in Paris, Saint-Germain. I think it's Razors. The platform is called Razors. Yes. But I did it via EvoEstate, and so it looks very interesting. So Gustas, what are your favorite countries in terms of real estate crowd investing, and why?
Well, I think I couldn't name one that is the most interesting. I think that a good portfolio is the one that is diversified. And in order to achieve diversification, you have to spread the capital across different countries, which naturally leads us to the conclusion that you cannot like one country or another, while you just simply need to diversify across a few of them at least.
Yeah, I've also seen that you have some projects from several countries in Europe, so it's quite interesting, and I think most countries have crowd investing platforms, so it's a good opportunity. Maybe you can name the example of Razors. So I think the minimum invest at Razors is €1,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so investors can invest at EvoEstate with, I think, €50 is the minimum, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
now it's €50, and basically the way how it works similar like you have with fractional buying of stocks. Like if you use, for instance, Revolut, you don't have to buy whole stock of Tesla. You can buy a tenth of it. So it works similar because we are an aggregator. We provide this capacity for the investors to reduce the minimum to just €50.
Yeah, that makes it more interesting for smaller amounts to invest. Yeah, Gustas, can you give us a forecast of real estate, maybe real estate prices in Europe for 2021, and how the crowd investing market will develop in your point of view?
Yeah, well, to be fully frank with you, I'm not the biggest fan of forecasts because it doesn't change that much from the weather forecast. Like I would ask you, what would be the weather after 3 months, whether it would be sunny or whether it would be rainy. So you can guess it, and you may be correct or may be wrong. So there's two outcomes. I think like about real estate prices, it depends on a lot of different factors. What we've seen up so far, like all the residential housing, the prices are actually going up in a lot of European states. And for instance, in Lithuania, for example, which is an interesting market, Vilnius, the capital, recorded the record number of transactions, I think, over the last few years this October. So it's an interesting data point to consider. And I think the commercial market will be affected. There's no way around it. But the residential market, the trends are shifting generally. Like if we look at the trends, and before people wanted to live in big cities, small apartments, studio flats. Now people want to live suburbs. They want to spend time in nature. They much likely prefer to acquire a secondary house, by the sea or by some lake, where they could relax or spend time outdoors. So the consumer preferences are changing, but what will happen with the prices, it's yet to be seen. I think it's a complex question, which if we may address better to the European Commission, like whether they will print a lot of money or they will be conservative. So if they will start printing out money, do quantitative easing, so naturally the prices of real estate may not even change because there will be large supply of capital and demand should be high. But what will come in practice is yet to be seen.
Yeah, I would also say that a lot of things are dependent from the interest rates from the ECB, European Central Bank. And we will see how the interest rates will develop. But I also assume that we will have a long time very low interest rates. And this can be also a good possibility for real estate, because prices normally rising in this area. But we will see. So maybe we will be right, or maybe we will be such the banking analyst of Wirecard who said, this stocks will go up. Yeah, I think it was 1 week before the company went bankrupt. So we will see.
I actually met a person who knew that Wirecard will default. I can't disclose the name, but I guess this will be pretty interesting for the listeners. So I talked with this one electronic money institution, and basically those EMIs, they use complex structures of where and how they keep money and how they sell the transactions. So just 1 week before the Wirecard incident, they wired almost all of the money of Wirecard. And they said, we knew it. I said, well, if you knew it, did you place options? And then they said, no. I said, so why, if you're so confident? He said, I just don't know how to make them. And I said, like, okay, that's fair point. But if I was you and I was so confident, I probably would have placed options, because probably one week before that, it would have made a lot of sense. Like, it would have made no sense to place options if you look from logical perspective, but from the return rate, probably it would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, sometimes those crazy things happen. So yeah, but let's come to the serious business. Gustas, what are the plans of EvoEstate for 2021? Give us an exclusive insight.
So, like when people ask me this question, my answer is always like a politician. I say we will just continue to do what we're doing, but improve everything and make everything better. Just because. But well, what we've been lagging with, and you almost got all the work done. So one is the user interface update. So that's one thing. And we are opening. We are adding a payment partner provider, which will open each investor with a personal IBAN. So basically, when you sign up, you will have a bank account open and actually your funds will not be kept in a commercial bank, like for instance Lemonway does, but your funds will be kept in the central bank. So you have limitless insurance. Of course, no one keeps above 100,000 euros on crowdfunding, but just saying, this is a nice marketing message, so to say. And actually, we have been flirting with an idea to launch an app. So this is something I haven't said to anyone, but we are actually looking into it. The only problem that now we are doing all those big changes right now, and the more we do something, the more volumes grow. We feel like we need to improve that thing or another, and the interface and the app are those nice to have things, but they aren't solving critical issues or improving of course, like I agree, the interface will improve the investment experience, but they aren't making that big of an impact. So we are trying to work on those things a lot.
Okay, sounds great. So we are looking forward to it. Yeah, then I think that was our interview. It was very exciting. So yeah, thank you very much, Gustas. And maybe you have some words for our listeners.
Now you put me in a position.
Yeah, that was our goal.
Where I have to say something.
Yeah, you can try.
Just be smart and keep diversifying, and diversify smart. Probably that are the only things I can tell. And thank you guys. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed the show, and wish all the best of luck for both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wise words.